Welcome back, traders and investors. We have a very special guest on the line here, Sang Lucci, founder and head trader at sanglucci.com. Sang Lucci, are you having a hard time staying awake in front of these screens lately?
Absolutely. To be honest, I'm finding other things to do. I'm working on the website and a lot of other things that we have going on now in the Sangucci world. So any chance I can get to get away from watching, I am taking that chance.
Is it just because there's just you don't see the opportunities there? I mean, your signals are our charts are not aligning it yet. I mean, is that are you just
No,
wait?
it's just there's no the volatility is not there. And remember, it depends on what kind of strategy you want to mess with. Like you guys had Nick Shaheen on, a little bit earlier, and when you're writing credit spreads, in a market like this, like that's the strategy that you really want to mess with in markets like this because it's dead action. Most options are going to drift down. Most out of the money options are going to drift down to nothing. So it depends what kind of strategy you employ. If you're looking for, day trades, big moves intraday, you're not really going to find them. There's few and far between.
Right. So, I mean, selling options, I mean, obviously, if you're doing the credit spread, you have a whole
Right.
different strategy. Obviously, if you're selling options outright, you
Right.
have a lot more risk. So, with volatility being this low, are you just waiting for, options to get, within your target range, low price, putting a boatload on and hoping, and waiting for the move to transpire?
No, it's more like waiting for the market to come around. So it's more like really focusing on sitting on your hands, saying no to trades, staying light in positions, taking your profits and losses much quicker than before, and then really just kind of waiting around or moving to like a swing strategy, because right now we're in a melt up situation where, names that funds want they're just sitting there floating higher. Like if you look at Chipotle for the last 2 weeks, the damn thing is up is up 100 points in 2 weeks. So there's names that funds want to be back into, and those just continue to float back up.
Right. So something like, I mean, you've had a couple big days in that, but it's actually been just like you said, just like a slow
Yep.
melt up on something like that. So you playing would you be playing the options this one or trying to?
Yeah, yeah. So you would swing an option, at least a couple of weeks out or a monthly option. But even then, your entries have to be on point. Since it's a very illiquid stock, the options are extremely illiquid. Spreads are wide, so you really have to be careful not to get too heavy in a lot of these things. So right now for directional positions, in my world, we're really tightening up the ship and just waiting for the juice to come back.
What do you make of a stock like Exxon Mobil here? I mean, or excuse
Yep.
me, let's go Chevron. Chevron. What do you do when you see that consecutive up days in a row?
Right.
I think 13, 14, 15. I mean, you can't
Right.
expect that kind of trend to continue.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, the same thing can be said about the Chipotle. The same thing can be said about a lot of other names that have been picked up. The Netflix too. When there's a rotation in a certain sector, these things keep floating higher. I look at this Chevron right now though, and I say, yeah, most likely she's going to sit in consolidation for another couple of weeks now. And sort of stop slowly moving higher. But a lot of these names they'll continue to float here. There's no reason to sell. There's no reason for funds to take profit on their positions here. There's no catalyst for anything like that. So yeah, these things tend to float higher. A lot of people are going to oil right now, the oil complex right now anyway.
We know you like to read the tape and you like to see what's going on in the actual price action is going on in the stocks here, and what have you been seeing on the tape? I mean, you've had this just begrudgingly slow move up. You kind of get the feeling like there's institutions out there putting some sizable orders at half and whole numbers. The HFTs nibble around it, try and scalp their profits, and then take it out. What are you seeing in the tape? Are you seeing any big institutional orders on the buy side as well supporting the market, or are you seeing more of the institutional orders on the upside?
What we're seeing, honestly, what I'm seeing on the tape is after, again, like usually institutions are, there's some of the smarter money out there. That's besides the mutual funds who are sort of late to the party and they sort of add to the trickle up or the melt up effect. What I'm seeing is a complete lack of selling pressure on every single major large cap name out there. And when I say lack of selling pressure, like nobody's hitting bids out there. There's no large offers, they're holding stocks down. There's no panic selling. There's no people. There's no sort of oversupply of stock out there, which people are willing to dump at lower prices. Like I am seeing a complete lack of that selling pressure. And when you have that lack of selling pressure, you get a melt up. This is what you get, and that's what we're seeing.
Any particular stocks that are on your radar for today?
On my radar for today would be the Google and the Tesla. These are two names that a lot of my guys bought yesterday, and these things should probably most likely float higher as well.
What do you trade? You trade the Goog or the Google?
I would trade the Google. I trade the Google because the options are a little bit more tighter as far as spreads and a little bit more liquid. But they're both kind of in the mix.
Okay, and for the Goog here, you're looking. I mean, you've had some tops here. You're looking for actually up to the high of the move here that we had in May.
Yep.
So perhaps you're
Yep.
looking through a breakout of that level.
Right. So she's hanging around like 575. She hasn't been able to get through this before. I'm thinking she might be able to float higher through it. It all depends on today's action.
And looking at the Tesla here, I don't know. I almost was thinking that little consolidation that it had towards the end of last week. You
Yep.
might get a little bit of a breakdown here, but that 226 level. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's my point. Like Tesla, it looked like she was going to drop out. Netflix, by the way, she consolidated at about 420 or 425. It looked like she was going to tank. I had a $500,000 short position in this thing. She dropped through 420. I was up maybe 200 grand on it. Didn't take it. Ended up negative in their position. So again, lack of selling pressure everywhere.
Right, and people just trying to get into the market. Yeah, Nick was talking about that as well as
Yeah.
you know booking profits when you see it. So
Yeah.
you're taking a laid back approach here to the markets. Just trying to go where the momentum is.
Indeed.
Have you been playing the Twitter at all? I mean,
Yes, absolutely. A lot of my guys have been playing the Twitter, and again, this was a great example of tape that really could have clued you in to a huge move. If you look back at May 28th, we're sitting there looking at the tape, and there were unbelievable buyers that came back into this stock and sat there and sort of held it up.
hmm,
So I'm talking about 100,000 share offers being taken out, 200,000 share bids, like just slowly stepping this stock up to like $35. And that was literally a huge long position being put on and a lot of shorts getting squeezed out. And that was your sign that, okay, this thing is about to turn and float higher to 39 or $40. And here we are at $40.
and also, St. Lucie, do you follow the street at all, like the ratings and the analysts at all? I mean, I
I
know.
don't follow any of them, to be honest, man. I mean, I think that game is now. I think that game now is as poor as technical analysis is. To be honest, I mean, the best case scenario or the best example of where a lot of that stuff fails is the $700 or the $100 price target on Apple, which got put in at the top of the at the top of the move. So if you look back to June 10th. There was a price target upgrade on Apple for $100, and that was where everything topped out. So personally, I think analysts, since they're not in the fire every day, since they're not, they're not really in the trenches every day. I think they fail to get these ratings right again and again and again. And oftentimes people can say there's a hidden agenda behind a lot of those analyst ratings. So I
Right.
don't watch any of it. I don't care about it. CNBC, I never have on. This is just a waste of time now to me.
Okay, as far as the Twitter here now, trying to get back up to that $40 level. You had
Yep.
a consolidation here for the last few days. Are you some of your traders booking profits here at this level?
No, no, they're all holding them. They're all holding them. If you look a couple of days ago, she had a washout. She had a washout of almost a point where she was able to take out a lot of the week longs, and she came right back. And then yesterday held the half really well. So money is definitely coming into these sort of internet names, and these guys are holding here for a move through $40.
Okay, so you're sitting tight with that. Just
Absolutely.
yep. Just what about you mentioned the Apple here. Is it kind
Yep.
of now that it's only a $90 stock? Is it off your radar a little bit here? Not this quite the same volatility.
Oh no, not at all. And I was listening in to your previous speaker. I believe he was sitting there talking about Apple. I mean, yes, the volatility has definitely come off of it, and the options are very strangely priced right now because obviously with the with the split and everything, the options had to adjust. But again, like Apple will still put in a point or a or 2 point move in one day. Like she'll still have that kind of volatility. And right now, after she had such a huge move up to what was it, $650 or $640 or whatever it was, of course she was going to sit here and consolidate. So that's what she's doing. Money is going elsewhere right now, and soon this thing will be fun to play again. But I think right now it's best to sell options on this thing and assume she's not going to really do much. She's going to sit in this range and do nothing.
Okay, Facebook is kind of turned things around here,
Yep.
trading at its highest level that we've seen in quite some time here.
Yep.
Hitting 66.22 today. 66.47's been the recent high of the move here. You still looking for more of the same and just to continue to drift higher into Facebook?
Absolutely. To be honest, I mean, I think money will now start to go back into a lot of these social networking names, and as we can see right now, I mean, we're literally looking at a possible breakout on this Facebook right now at 66 and a quarter. If this thing spins up to 67, these things might have a lot more to go. If you take a look at the LinkedIn, it's really the same picture. Consolidation for the last like 10 days. She's right at 170. If she gets over 170, this thing could really get to moving.
Oh
So
wow, that
absolutely, absolutely, I think money's going into this. And as we speak, I mean, your Tesla, your Google, all these things are slowly moving higher, even when the market is negative. And it doesn't matter as long as the market just sits here and does nothing. Again, there's no selling pressure. So again, funds are going to the melt up is going to continue to happen.
And what about the 3D printing stocks? They have some decent volatility. Looks like they're coming out of a basing pattern here. Any of those on your radar you like to
To
trade?
be honest, like I don't play these names. I mean, a lot of my guys play some of these 3D printing, and this is sort of the flavor of the week kind of thing, So to me, it's just like the solar names or things like that, where money goes into these sectors, when people least expect it. Me personally, I don't play this stuff. The DDD, it has a decent options chain. It has a decent options chain. I might, I might throw it back in there. Volumes are half decent here, so I might throw it back in there. But yeah, they're looking pretty hot right now.
So Sang Lucci maintaining a bullish stance here on the market, just more as opposed to just no one selling out there, right? Not as
Yep.
opposed as the buyer, just no panic, no fear in the market. So you don't have any black swan puts or anything like that in your back pocket. You don't
Oh
not.
no, absolutely not. Like there's no catalyst for it. You know what I mean? Like once there is some inkling of some kind of a catalyst, like before, we were coming into those FOMC minutes, and people were speculating that might be the catalyst, and they remain dovish on their outlook as far as QE goes. So chances are they're going to keep rates low until expected deep in 2015. So right now, again, zero catalyst, and the only time that will happen is when things really, really start floating way too high. They can always go longer than you think. This Tesla hasn't hit all-time highs. This Google is far away from it. So there's plenty of room left for a bigger melt up here.
Brent's asking that if you have so little faith in the analysts, is any part of your trading strategy fading their calls?
Yeah, absolutely. Like again, my whole theories are based on price action. So if an analyst comes in with an upgrade, and let's say the stock spikes up on the news, and then all of a sudden has a complete pullback into negative territory, well then all that was an excuse to sell that stock. It was basically a gimme to sell that stock. You get the retail herd to come in and put that last pop in the stock, and then all of a sudden, it flops back. I shorted Apple. I shorted Apple at 93. I shorted Apple at 93, and I was like, the same situation happened, and covered around 91 and a half, and this was with the option. So oftentimes, absolutely, but I will again look at how the rating has adjusted or affected price action. So everything comes down to buyers and sellers for me. Are people really taking the upgrade or downgrade seriously? Is there real buying pressure? Is there real selling pressure? And that will be the catalyst for me to actually do something.
Looking at the tape. Okay, and any final words of advice for traders in this low volatility environment?
Oh, absolutely, and I'm sure everybody else is giving the same advice. I mean, sit on your hands. Know how not to trade. It's a skill that not a lot of traders have perfected or even spent time thinking about. You don't have to be in the markets. You don't have to trade when your ideal setups aren't there. Don't feel like you're pressured to actually make a move. Feel comfortable sitting on your hands, and wait for that juice or wait for those things to come to you.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that you mentioned too earlier in the interview was the time horizons and trying if you're going to have this muted intraday volatility, if you could start taking a longer term perspective on things, giving yourself a chance to have something work, not necessarily within a day or within a week and the weekly options, but lengthening your time horizon. All right.
Absolutely, and then also switching the strategy. So if you can take a page out of a different strategy here, like for example, like writing put spreads here. If we're melting up here and the sentiment is underlying bullish, well then take some out of the money weekly puts and just write the hell out of these things. You can make a quick 10 cents, 20 cents on these things, make small money until that volatility comes back, and you can crush it.
Okay, all right. Sang Lucci here, head trader at sanglucci.com, giving us his approach to the markets and very good advice. Thanks for coming on, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
All right, take care, guys.